So fasten your seatbelts. We're about to get back into it. Chapter 12. The story's really heating up. It's getting wild from here. Will the bodies start stacking up? Not long before midnight, on the eve of September 13th, Pim Putman was pruning his genetically engineered pot plants in the aquarium that he had purchased from the Cincy Seed Bank. The new hybrids were growing at phenomenal rates. After closer inspection, Putnam noticed it was time to reduce the hours of light per day in order to promote flowering. He went back into the living room, got his mint tea, and finished reading The Stem, another story about the murder of Yanni Fisser. Few leads on the crime. A follow-up commentary. Ternoshan going to pot. Whatever, he told himself. He wouldn't be in this godforsaken place much longer. He made a fortune on the deal with Hunt. Putnam, with a matchstick, removed a bit of hashish oil from an ink vial and laced a hand-rolled drum cigarette along its seam. As he lit the fag, he noticed a thick smoke. "Looks good," he said to himself. After a few long draws, Putnam was in another place. He was, as usual, mesmerized by the mellowness of the buzz. Concentrated THC. He kicked back and put his feet up on the coffee table and switched on the television. Moments later, Putnam heard a splintering, crashing sound from the foyer. The front door was being busted in. Yari Fisser, the unruly gangster, stood in the frame of the doorway. He had waited until the Centrum's tower clock struck midnight to make his move. When he saw Pim, he said, "I always wondered what you did in your spare time, Putman." Casually, Fisser slipped into his famous brass knuckles and added, "Where the fuck did you get the neighborlies you sold to Arno DeLonga?" Yari had the brass knuckles manufactured about 5 years prior by a local jeweler who owed him a favor. Per Fisser's request, 4 2-carat diamonds had been placed strategically along the lines of the knuckles. The jeweler had also placed a 3-carat diamond, reverse inlaid, on the outer edge of the weapon. It jutted out to just below the knuckle of his pinky. The large diamond stuck out like an iceberg, and it was every bit as deadly. For good measure, Yari killed the jeweler after the murderous masterpiece had been constructed. When Putnam saw the brass knuckles, his eyes widened. He played dumb, but the look on Yari's face said that he wasn't getting out of this one so easy. Fisser slashed hard, the single diamond point protruding near the pinky tore a 2-inch gash down Putnam's sternum. Blood poured from the wound, drenched the surrounding area. The unruly gangster smiled and said, "I don't want to be here all fucking night." Putnam clenched at his chest and groaned. "It's not like you think, Yari." Although he had never cared much for Pim, Fisser had never entertained the thought that one day he might be doing a job on the man. "You never could keep your mouth shut, could you, Putman?" Through the years, Fisser had often seen the unfortunate gangster down at the stair or the Bundys drunk out of his mind, running his mouth. "All you had to do was lay low for a while. You probably would have fucking gotten away with it." Fisser stretched his limbs as if in preparation for a butterfly swimming race. "But you like to drink, you see, and when you drink, you talk." "No, Yari, give me a chance to explain." "Who'd you get the dope from, motherfucker?" Putnam hesitated with his answer, and for that he received a short right hand to the forehead. 4 small incisions opened up as his head bobbed backward like a rock'em sock'em robot's. "Nothing too hard yet," the unruly gangster said to himself. "The bastard will start singing in a minute. Just tap him a bit. Fuck with him. One more time, Putman. How'd you get the fucking dope? Pim Putman saw only doom in concealing the truth. He said, Hunt, the American gave it to me. Fizzer squeezed Pim's Adam's apple, one of his favorite torture methods. Hunt, he said, a rage coming at light speed. Hunt, did you say motherfucking Hunt? We've been looking for that motherfucker everywhere. Where the fuck is he? I have no idea. Where you go? Shit if I know, said Putnam, who was thinking, I'm a dead man. Bullshit, Fizzer snapped. The unfortunate gangster mustered a look of courage. He knew what was coming. As Fizzer crossed blows up and down Putnam's body, the diamonds made deep cuts. Slice. Rip. Slice. Oops, that sounded like moan. Putnam's voice degenerated into a baby's whine. No more, Yari, please. Down low to the body, Fizzer thought. Slice. Slice. Putnam feigned unconsciousness, blood pouring from his wounds. Wake up, motherfucker, Fizzer said, punching his victim adeptly on the open gash around his sternum. Putnam gasped for air, his mouth looking like a redfish getting ready to suck in a shrimp. You ready to talk now? Putnam moaned. Fitfully, Yari said, Where's Hunt? I don't know where he is, Yari. I swear. Hunt fronted me the stuff. Putnam slurred his words. Hunt said he'd be back for the money. Fizzer backhanded Pim. Is that a fact? He said, but was inwardly thinking, oh, what's the use? Just gild a motherfucker. With the point of the iceberg diamond jutting out from the side, Fizzer sideswiped Pim's neck, separating the jugular from its regular path. The unfortunate gangster doubled over in his chair and desperately tried to shut off the faucet of blood gushing from his body. Fizzer then delivered a perfect knee into Pim's chin, shattering two of his molars and knocking him unconscious forever. When Yari Fizzer delivered the news to Constantine that Hunt had provided Pim Putman with the dope, a time bomb went off in the Sicilian's head. I knew it, he told himself. Hunt killed Yanny Fizzer and the expediter. Constantine steadied himself and thought about the situation. It makes sense. How else could the American have survived the hit at the shop? But what about Rutger? Had he really even left the shop? It sounded like a little too convenient. Constantine then thought about Ivar Lowy and his buyer. Hunt would have needed a real muscle to pull off that caper. Rutger had to be involved, didn't he? Then again, Rutger had stuck around while Hunt had left. It was all too confusing, yet the answer seemed to be floating on the surface, invisible to the naked eye. His family was short 3 men. Those were the facts. Constantine had also been thinking, had he foreseen such a betrayal? He may have granted Roosevelt a reprieve for what now seemed to be benign insubordination. Yes, it was all starting to make sense. Then it dawned on him. Rutger must have killed Yanny because Yanny had learned that Rutger was fucking Sophie Dubois, Yari's whore. That's right. Rutger was the trigger man. Eureka, he said to himself. The Zaylan boss set a piece of hashish into a pipe and fired it to an ember. Yari, I have an interesting piece of information to share with you. Before I tell you this, understand that I will not tolerate disobedience. Bloody hell, Fizzer thought. Motherfucker's starting his shit again. Okay. Spare me the song and dance. Here it is, lad. Rutger has been seen coming out of Sophie's flat. The Sicilian's words registered instantly, although Yari gave a look that said, I don't think I heard you right. What the fuck did you say? I'm afraid it's true. Fizzer's face turned purple. He said, I'll gut that motherfucker's nuts off. Constantine stopped the unruly gangster in his tracks. It gets worse, my friend. I think Rucker is the one who is responsible for your brother's death. You see, my theory is that your brother found out that Rucker was screwing Sophie, so Rucker silenced Yanny. Think about it. Rucker supposedly left the shop before the hit, right when Yanny got back. Hunt survived the hit, but then disappears, right? Now, remember the situation with Evarv and Loey? It all seems connected, part of an elaborate ruse. Fisher looked like a defeated warrior. He said, You know, you're right. Those motherfuckers. One last thing, Yari. This information must not leave this room. If this gets out, every gangster in Ternosian will go looking for Hunt. If that happens, we'll never get the lot back. You said a mouthful, boss. Constantine took a silver straw and snorted up the rest of the cocaine on the table. We'll need Rucker as the bait. Is that understood? Yeah. There's more way to skin a cat. Constantine removed a special packet of pure grade A Colombian cocaine and spread out a gram for them to share. Give that a try. Fizzer cut 2 identical lines and went down and sniffed one up. A few seconds later, his face appeared. It's good. Not good, the best. Both men walked over to the gold velour sofa and chair near the back of the room, in front of a large window overlooking the compound. Constantine took the chair. Fisher sat on the sofa. Revenge for his brother would be sweet, Fisher said to himself. He checked his pocket and felt for the diamond-studded brass knuckles in anticipation of the event. The motherfuckers are gonna pay. My brother's lying in the morgue wooded with bullets, and nobody has a fucking clue what the hell happened. Until now. Fisher left immediately and headed toward the city in the family's 1983 silver DeLorean. Like a jockey, he banged excessively on the odd steering wheel, hoping it would make the beast go faster. The vehicle's stainless steel body darted down the highway like Michael J. Fox hitting that 88-mile-an-hour mark, which would shuffle him to another world. Fisher thought about the silly movie that he'd seen years ago, how ironic it was that he drove the same make and model. He wished this car was equipped with a flux capacitor. He'd set it to the date and time just before his brother's murder. Bloody fucking bitch, he said out loud to no one. Rucker fucking finesse. The road, mirrored in a slick residue, came at him quick. For the next 20 minutes, through a half slumber, his eyes never left the center line. Fizzer braked hard as he entered Ternosian Central. He snapped around corners and blazed through intersections, paying no regard to pedestrians or even his own safety. The car was quick and precise. When he arrived at Sophie's flat, the unruly gangster slammed down the brake pedal, skidded to a halt, and then bolted from the vehicle, fuming, and marched up to the front door and started banging. Open up, you fucking cunt. A few onlookers saw the commotion and took hasty detours. Fisher didn't care who saw what or where or when. They'd turn away if they knew what was good for them. No answer. The bitch wasn't answering. Bang. Open up. I know you're in there. Still no answer. In the hopes that she might be fast asleep, Fisher made his way around the back to an old window he had to crawl through occasionally when he misplaced his keys. The place was empty when he got inside. Fisher tore up the flat looking for evidence, perhaps a lone artifact belonging to Rutger. He noticed that Sophie had made a half-hearted effort at cleaning up the place. Fizzer spotted a couple of empty cocaine packets on the nightstand. They probably did coke and fucked their asses off. He tore the room to shreds, looking for anything. And then he spotted it. A rubber loaded with semen. Motherfuckers.